So recently I've taken the plunge back into pre-written D&D adventures, and I've started running Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Upon reading through this adventure, I felt that it would be something really fun for my play group to experience. However, I do have a question to ask. Were the writers high? Were the playtesters drunk? Did no one look at the encounters in the early levels of this book and go, huh, you know, that seems a bit rough? I ask because one of the beginning adventures in this book has your band of level 1 characters fighting a challenge rating 6 monster. They can walk into a room with a frost giant skeleton at level 1 and fight them. This is one of the potential first adventures they go on at level 1, and this book expects them to fight a level 6 monster. Now, I've seen a couple of people argue that encounters like this are not meant for the party to win. They're supposed to realize this is an encounter that they can't win and either run away from it, or they'll say they'll win anyways because of action economy. Bullshit! 5 level 1 adventurers do not get action economy on their side when facing a challenge rating 6 monster. The average health of a level 1 character, regardless of their class or race, is roughly between 10 and 15 hit points. This motherfucker makes 2 great axe attacks, and they are 3d12 plus 6 slashing damage. And never mind the multi-attack, if he doesn't want to do that, he could just do a freezing stare, which if they fail the DC 13 saving throw, will do 10d6 cold damage. And if they're still alive at that point, they're also fucking paralyzed. Action economy my ass, your level 1 characters will not make it through this fight. And this unfortunately is a theme I find throughout many of the encounters in this book. A lot of these encounters, especially the early level ones, are pitted against challenge rating monsters or swaths of monsters that are incapable of defeating even like in a slim chance. They're just outrageous bullshit encounters that level 1 and 2 and even some 3 encounters are just not gonna happen. Especially considering the room immediately after this frost giant skeleton has you fighting a sea hag and a will-o-wisp. Much easier to deal with than a challenge rating 6 frost giant skeleton. And while yes, the book does say that the skeleton is encased in ice and it takes a turn to break free, that one turn is not enough for level 1 characters to do in enough damage to make it an easy or at least matched fight. I want to do a full review of this campaign close to, if not after, I finish running it for my friends, because I think it's a really interesting campaign with a lot of good story elements that I really want to run and I really want to talk about. But the one thing that this campaign is not made for is new DMs. I of course made some changes to that frost giant fight where I had him have to make his own strength DC check to break out of the ice instead of him just taking a full turn to do so, to give them at least a fighting chance to get some decent damage in on him before he broke free. This is not the only encounter that's made like this. There are many encounters for the early levels of this campaign that are not winnable. And of course, there is the notion that not every fight should be winnable. And I agree, not every encounter has to be winnable, but not every encounter, especially early level, should be that fucking detrimental. That fight has the capability of alt F4ing you from existence in one hit. Not even the multi-attack, just one fucking hit. Put you in the recycling bin and then delete you out of the recycling bin, you're done. Your players are the adventurers and therefore the heroes. How many times have you ran a game for characters or players that didn't immediately run away from a fight? How many times did they say, you know what, I got this. He wouldn't do something that would absolutely murder us. I can guess it's probably a lot. Players want to feel like heroes. They want to feel like adventurers, like they can take on the world. And that is especially true at all levels between level 1 and level 20. And this is doubly true for brand new players who've never played D&D before. The moment the door to D&D opens up and so many wonderful things are open to them and they realize the amount of potential they have, they will feel unstoppable. And yes, it's important to pull that line in a little bit so they don't feel ungodly. But this isn't the way to do it. Fights should be challenging. They should not be this fucking brutal, and especially not this fucking early. My quick short summary is that if a brand new DM picks up this campaign and sits down with brand new players, I think they're all gonna have a fucking rough time. The early levels for this campaign are both gruelingly difficult for the characters, but it's also hard to understand for a dungeon master. And your players are not gonna have fun if you run these encounters exactly as the book is written. They will die. Trust me on this. They will die. If you've played in Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden, or you're a DM who's run Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden, please leave any all comments, suggestions, and ideas and stories down below. I would love to read them. I'm just getting started in this campaign. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of people have been playing or running in it. It doesn't seem to be as popular as most other pre-written campaigns, but I'm very genuinely excited to run it, but I am very, very scared for brand new DMs who pick this up as their first campaign, and brand new players with brand new DMs who have this as their first challenge. Now, even though it gets a lot of flack, I think one of the better campaigns for new dungeon masters and new players is Hoard of the Dragon Queen. It's a little rough at times, but it is far more beginner friendly for both DMs and players, and I would highly recommend checking out my review here if you're at all interested. And if you like Hoard of the Dragon Queen well enough, you can continue on with Rise of Tiamat, which will tie in right afterwards, and you can check out that video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to these patrons for supporting future content like this, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Skål!